They mocked her, called her mad, said she was wasting food on children who would never amount to anything. But one of those forgotten orphans rose to become the president of the entire nation, and when he returned, he bowed at her feet. This isn't just a tale of poverty and power. It's a reminder that the seed you plant in silence can shake the earth in time. If you believe in humility, destiny, and the power of small acts of love to change the world, then this story is for you. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to Real African Tales by H.A. and tell us in the comments what est the kindest thing someone ever did for you when you had nothing. They called her mad, they called her dirty, they called her a woman without direction, yet every morning before the sun rose over the hills of Okoji village, Mama Ebele would take her rusted cooking pot, fill it with the little grain and dried vegetables she had, and cook a humble meal for children no one else wanted to see, the orphans, who slept under broken verandas and church porches and abandoned sheds, the ones who had lost their parents to war, sickness, and sorrow, the ones whose names no elder remembered, but whose stomachs still growled like thunder under a dry sky. And Mama Ebele would gather them in front of her hut, wiping each face with the edge of her wrapper, calling them my sons, my daughters, even when they came barefoot, lice-ridden, coughing, and speechless from grief. She would make them sit in a crooked line and share the food evenly, not minding if hers was only a spoonful left, because she believed, as she often whispered to herself, that feeding a child was feeding the future, but the villagers, oh. The villagers laughed behind. Her back called her the mother of nobodies, said she was wasting her energy on children who would grow into thieves, said she smelled like smoke and wet ground, and that any woman without a husband or her own children must be cursed or hiding something, and so they insulted her in whispers, sometimes in market stalls, sometimes in front of their own children, who then learned to look down on the ones Mama Ebele loved most. But she never stopped. Not even when they poured sand in front of her door to drive her away, or when they refused to sell her cassava in the market, or when the chief himself called her a nuisance and warned her to stop gathering those abandoned things near the palace road. Still she kept feeding them, teaching them, telling them stories of their ancestors, letting them sleep on old mats in her small hut during the rains. And when she found one child, barely speaking, named Chinadu, who would not talk or cry, only stare at the sky as if searching for something that could not be found on earth, she gave him special attention, teaching him slowly, even when others said he was too broken to learn. But years passed, and one by one, the children she fed grew and left. Some to other villages, some to the cities, most without saying goodbye, and soon her hut was quiet again, and her bones ached more, and the wrinkles around her eyes deepened like tree bark. And still, the villagers forgot her, until one day, a convoy of black cars rolled into Okoji, stirring dust like a dry season storm. Men in suits jumped out, women in wrappers sang and ululated, and at the center of it all was a tall man, with eyes that had once stared blankly at the sky. Chinadu, now the newly elected president of the republic, stepping out of the car with tears already falling from his eyes, ignoring the chief's outstretched hand, walking past the musicians and elders, asking only one thing: "Where is Mama Ebele?" And when they brought him to her old hut, now collapsing with age, he entered, knelt, and sobbed at her feet, saying, "Mama, you fed me when I was invisible, and now I see the whole nation." And from that day, she was never mocked again, because the woman they insulted for feeding the forgotten became the mother of a president, and her name, once a whisper of pity, became a song of praise across every land her son now governed.